Views and opinions of our advertisers and management of Pacific Telestations Incorporated. You're watching Buzz with Jess Lujan.
Good evening, Guam. I'm Jess Lujan. Welcome to this edition of The Buzz. Great show tonight. I have none other than our Governor of Guam, Eddie Baza Calvo, post-international interview. So I'm honored to have him on tonight. Good evening, Governor. How you doing?
Half a day. Buenos noches.
Hey, it's been a while, but I tell you what, man. Thank you very much for coming on. Very exciting. Saw you yesterday on Fox Business News. You know, it's about time we get positive press in regards to, and then not asking us about snakes and parachuting mice and tipping over and things like that, but really serious questions about financial stuff. I mean, when did this little dot in this globe, you know, when do they want to know about how we got out of this this deficit and whether or not you're going to be submitting again, telling the people of the United States that you're going to be running for president?
Yeah. In fact, I want to add to that, Jess. If you can recall, you know, we've always had some interesting. There's been interesting reasons to be in the international or national news, and you just mentioned some of those examples. Well, the last time I was in international news was CNN when we had the North Korean scare.
Yeah.
So, you know, those type of news stories, those aren't the kind of news stories that you want to convey to the United States, to any other nation. So this was some good news, and a lot of it came out as a result of some of the successes that we're having in terms of our internal governance, things that have been caught by Standard & Poor's,
Bloomberg,
by Bloomberg, by many of those in the financial institutions worldwide, and looking at certain areas where you're seeing a lot of, most common issues are usually governments and communities that are having negative results and are going down.
Well,
we're exact opposite. We're going up. We're ascendant, and it's an anomaly.
And especially when you're looking at, when you're putting us side by side with what Puerto Rico's going through. I mean, they're getting ready to, again, to be foreclosed on, basically. And you're looking at Guam where we're at, because, you know, everyone is in a financial situation. But how are they getting out? And they're saying, hey, Governor, how have you been able to turn this around in one term? Not quite 4 years yet. How are you able to get from a 300 million some deficit into a surplus, 30 million deficit? How are you able to do that?
And there, you know, I wish we had more time.
Sure.
In the show to speak with that. I was, with the problem of only 5 minutes in national television, you can't say everything. But you know, there's a story to be told about Guam. We did a lot of cutting of costs. We restructured our debt, and you know, you've always heard these criticisms that, my goodness, you just transferred a current debt to a long-term debt. Well, the bottom line is, back in 2011, we had about $1.5 billion in total debt. Right now, we're down to about 1.1, 1.2. So the total debt for the government of Guam actually has shrunk. But then at the same time, we've had 2 consecutive years of, and we're, by the way, 2 consecutive years, I'm including this year, which we haven't had the final audits coming out, but it's going to look like another surplus year. So 2 consecutive surplus years. We went from a $330 million current account deficit to last year a $32 million surplus. Now we're going to add on that with this fiscal year with another surplus. We are a star when it comes to many communities in the United States, and it's important to tout what we are, and it's a bit about being proud of being a Guamanian and what the Guamanian people are capable of doing.
And what I don't understand, Gov, is this, when your critics will say, well, you're really not erasing the debt, and they're correct in that sense, but in consolidation and looking for maybe a lower interest rate, how many times do we hear, maybe on TV, where, hey, consolidate your debt, your credit cards this amount, of are your interest rates this amount, consolidate it in this, and we can get you this. Yeah, you haven't erased it, but now you're paying less, and the long term you're going to pay a lot less, and probably going to pay it off a lot sooner than if you were to keep this high interest rate, or not even paying at that point, right?
Remember, about 2/3 of that deficit were tax refunds that were owed to the people. This was money owed to the people. It was their money. And in fact, there was a senator that said we'd rather owe
the people
than the bank. But we were paying, and the people didn't want to be the bank. So for a lot of people, they had to wait multiple years. Then, of course, at least they get paid, but they'd be paid at 6 to 6.5%. So this was compounded interest, but they didn't want it. They didn't want that.
Sure.
Here we are. We restructure the debt. We get it through a 30-year bond, and we have two bond indentures, one at 4.9 and 4.6%. Doesn't that sound like some very smart restructuring?
It really does.
and then the bottom line is, I go back to our total debt has actually gone down from fiscal year 2011 when we took office to where it is right now. So we're going to continue to bring down our total debt. We're going to continue to build on surpluses for fiscal years. And we're going to build stronger and more stable services for the people of Guam. And again, our goal and objective is to build a better quality of life for our people here.
You know, as a matter of fact, I had a caller this morning, and and she goes, you know, look, Senator Ben, don't take the governor to court. Take us to court, because that's what you're doing. You're taking the people of Guam to court, because this is our money. This is not the governor's money. This is the governor's, this is the people's money. And so if you're telling the governor that he shouldn't be paying us out our own money, you know, it's us that you're taking to court, not the governor. It's not it's coming out of his pocket.
Yeah.
We want our money, and we want it now.
Yeah. Why don't we stop suing each other? Let's, like I said, I want to sue the federal government. The federal government has imposed a lot of unfunded mandates.
Sure.
We got about $1.5 billion worth of unfunded mandates. Now you add that on now with
Obamacare,
with Compact Impact, and with the Affordable Health Care Act, it's going to be over $2 billion. Now, there's a lot of this stuff that it's been unilateral in nature. So I think it's important that we as a people stop focusing on pointing each other's fingers at each other and come as a team Guam.
Sure.
And I invite members of the legislature to work with us in dealing with some of these issues of inequity and unfairness by unilateral acts of the federal government.
There we go. And that's a segue, Governor, again, to what we want to discuss tonight is that, you know, of course, our financial situation looks like we're in steady ground here now, and I refer to you as Steady Eddie. And we dedicated Rock Steady to you, Governor, this morning, so just so you know
like
that. Just so you know that. You know, healthcare, we've had a healthcare revolution here in Guam as well. We've taken a turn. We still have a lot of challenges, as we do with financials, okay? But we've gained a lot of ground as well.
Yeah, and Jess, you're one of those folks. I remember going to see and I should be going to the gym more. I do have gym membership, but you know, you're a man from early on that understands about physical fitness, taking care of your body. Sure. This is something that I think is becoming more prevalent in Guam, and it's not something that the government is forcing on anybody. You're seeing it yourself. Sure. There's a lot more gyms seem to be opening, Zumba classes. I'm talking whether it's in a Dedido Community Center or one of the Manamku centers, or it's a CrossFit gym that's opening up. In fact, my wife and my kids are all in CrossFit.
Sure, CrossFit.
So there's this heightened awareness for healthcare in our island, and that's something that has to come from all aspects of community, government, the private sector, and just all individuals espousing better health care. We had a long way to go in terms of our infrastructure. When we first came in, we had one working ambulance. So now we've got 15 working ambulances. If you've taken a look recently at the hospital, the new ER and ICU unit, it's beautiful new facility that's come in, that's up in operation. Anyone who's gone to the northern or the southern public health centers, the amount of investment's been put in there. These are top-notch community health centers. There's clinics opening up everywhere, both diagnostic and type of clinics, as well as actual services provided for varying degrees of ailments. And we're going to soon have a brand new hospital opening up. And I want to congratulate Gita, because in negotiating the QC with this hospital, part and parcel was that them making a contribution, particularly to MIP Medicaid on an annual basis. And since the federal government is not compensating us to what we should be for Medicaid, it's nice to have that support coming from a new regional institution such as the hospital. So there's a lot of good things that are coming, and we just it's important for us now as a community to continue to improve the quality of health care for all our people.
No, absolutely. You know, it's fantastic to be able to do something like that. And it's very important, as you said, you know, in regards to the needs, because, you know, we talked before, the best thing, you know, they said an ounce of prevention is worth a pound of cure, you know, and that's the formula basically to that. If you want to pay less on your insurance, and all that, then, take care of yourself as much as you can, right? And be able to do something like that. But Governor, let me ask you this: What are our chances? What are our chances to be carved out of this affordable health care? What are our chances?
Well, we tried, and we've had a big ally in Senator Murkowski from Alaska. Myself, as well as Governor Enos and other territorial governors, have written a letter requesting that we delay this thing until we have these fixes.
Sure.
The territories have been put under so much duress in dealing with the mandates, but without the subsidization.
Sure. So
we do have allies in the Congress, and again, Senator Murkowski has been one of those major allies. We're going to continue to push. I would have probably had more of an inclination to supporting the Affordable Health Care Act if we had those kind of subsidies.
Subsidies, yeah.
But right now, with us having to take 100% of the health exchange tax credit, which is about double.
This is another EITC situation, right?
But double the earned income tax credit. It's going to be about $70 to $75 million that we're going to have to fork out that the other states are going to get from the federal treasury. And then the expansion on Medicaid, they've given us additional $24 million to cover us till 2020. Now, we're going to need $75 million annually to cover the increased coverage for Medicaid as a result of the Affordable Health Care Act. So that $24 million won't even cover, it's about 30% of 1 year. And so you see where they've really put us in a very difficult position.
And that's not taking consideration, as Arda Logan said, it's not taking consideration the costs that will have to be passed on now. It looks like of course, insurance, what we're paying for now may jump up as high as 55%. I mean, probably 3 people will have insurance.
And this comes in a very interesting time, because if you look at when we came in and where we're at right now, the quality of healthcare has actually improved. We had about, still too many, but we had about 30,000 uninsured residents of this island. We're down to 20,000 uninsured. So there are more individuals getting insured. If you take a look at some of the programs, both private as well as government provided insurance, their coverage is expanded, including a lot of areas in wellness. As for the Gov Guam health insurance package, we've been criticized heavily by the legislature, but if you take a look at the average cost of a premium, particularly to the 2000 plan, there's actually been a reduction of the premium from 2011. And the average premium price in 2011 was about in a biweekly basis was about $180. Right now, because of great negotiations by Benita and Department of Administration, it's down to $135. And we were criticized now before for monopolies. Now there's coverage by different health insurance companies, a whole assortment of clinics, including gyms and wellness centers. Unfortunately, I think with the judiciary, they went on one single, and they don't have the amount of coverage in terms of those that are providing health care to them.
Watch out what you ask for. You might just get it.
So I think we did a great job on that, but we have to continue on.
Governor, I got to pay some bills right now, but we will be right back, okay? More with Governor Calvo when we come back.